This is a compostable straw, do not come for me. What's up you guys, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Happy graduation season, besties. I don't know if it's just me, but it kind of seems like everybody that I know is graduating or has graduated in the last like week or so. It might just be me and the people that I am friends with and I'm following, but I have seen at least like 30 people graduate. So happy graduation to anyone who has graduated from college, from high school, from any level of school. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. You did it. If you are new here, hello, my name is Hannah. I am 23 years old and I graduated as well a year ago. So it has been, what day is it? Today is Tuesday, May 17th. I think my graduation was on May 15th. When did I graduate? One second. May 15th. I graduated on May 15th, 2021. So it's been approximately one full year post-grad. I thought that I would sit down today and just chat about this past year, what's worked, what hasn't, what I've learned, all of that kind of stuff. I have quite a lot to say because if you aren't new here and you've been around since at least last year when I graduated, you will know that I was terrified to graduate. Not in like the month or so leading up to graduation. At that point, I was so over it and I wanted to graduate more than anything. But at the beginning of 2021, when I knew that it was my grad year, I felt like I was having an actual quarter life crisis. And I don't mean to sound dramatic when I say that, I mean it. I was freaking out. For almost 20 years of my life, I was a student. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't going to be a student anymore. With school, obviously everything is so structured and you have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, whatever, and you have the natural progression of the school system. And then once you get out of that progression, once you finish your last level of schooling, whatever that may be, it's like there's nothing there. There's no right next step, even though it may feel like there is. I'll get into that though. I've used this analogy before, but I've felt like I was put in front of this blank canvas and I have like just a bunch of paints in front of me with no direction. No like paint this, paint that. Now, flash forward 1 year, I am... Okay, thank God. Fast forward 1 year, I moved out, moved to a new city. I've made new friends. I've learned new things. And I just have this whole direction of my life right now that if you would have asked me a year ago what exactly I thought I was going to be doing at this point, I may have kind of had an idea that New York is where I wanted to be, but I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know what was gonna happen once I got there. Oh, hi, Charlie. This is Charlie. This is my roommate. Oh, you can't see her.
You go sit there while mommy's talking to the camera. She says, Mommy, who are you talking to?
Anyway, I wrote some notes for this. Shut up. Like, why is your car that... It does not need to be that loud. You should get that checked out. I made a pros and cons list of my personal experiences, my personal opinions on post-grad life. This is not an exhaustive list of pros and cons because if I did make a thorough exhaustive list, we would be here for a really long time just talking about this. But I thought I would go over just some of the surface level pros and cons in my 1 year post-grad. Let's begin with the pros because why not start off on a good note, you know? Pro number 1. I'm just like reading directly from my notes. I wrote, and I quote, no school, no finals, no grades, no group projects with people who don't want to be there, end quote. I don't know if this even needs to be said because it's just glaringly obvious. One of the greatest parts of post-grad life is no longer having to be in school. That's the whole point. It's great. It is great. Sitting here and looking at other people doing that and knowing that I don't have to do that. Oh my gosh. It just is an amazing feeling. It really is. I don't know how else to describe it. No group projects with people who don't want to be there. Those were the bane of my existence in school. Now, if I'm working on something with a group of people, the reason that they are in the group of people that I am working on something with is because they want to be there. And we're all working towards something that we're all interested in. In school, literally teachers always would say, you need to do group projects now, that's why I'm assigning them, because you're gonna be working in groups for the rest of your life. You need to know how to work with people, and that is true. But in school, people don't care about participating. They don't care. If they're not interested in it personally, because not everybody is interested in every single class. If they're not interested in it personally, good luck. Like, it's really, you're on your own at that point. But in real life, at least from what I've seen, and I've only been out of school for 1 year, the teams that I've worked with, the teams that I've worked on, are people who they're working in this space because they want to. So at least we all have a mutual interest in the topic. Just that alone, when you're interested in something, it makes you more motivated to participate. Next pro, I can learn whatever I want. I don't have a school telling me what I need to be learning. I don't have a list of classes I need to take. I can learn about whatever I want to learn about. The part of school that I actually really enjoyed was the learning part, which I understand is supposed to be like most of what school is even about, but in reality, if you have ever gone to school, you know that it becomes less about that, more about passing and getting a good grade than actually like learning. Another conversation for another time. But now I can learn whatever I want, and I don't have to just do what the school is telling me. I don't have to take gen eds that have nothing to do with anything that relates to my interests. I don't have to spend thousands of dollars on classes where I'm most of the time had to teach myself anyway. Next pro, I have my own space now. I moved out, I live alone. That was the greatest thing that I've ever done. Actually, that and me transferring schools, those are up there with two of the greatest decisions that I've made in my life thus far at the ripe age of 23. I can't even put into words how glad I am that I did take that step, even if it was uncomfortable, because it definitely was. I'm very much a homebody, and I'm also a creature of habit, so a big ass change like that, like quite literally life shifting, like it shifted the entire trajectory of my life. I'm just really glad that I made that decision. I'm glad that I decided to come here, and I'm glad that I did it when I did, because I found this apartment and I love it so much. Things really did just kind of work out how they needed to. So yeah, I live alone. Well, not technically. I do have a cat. Her name is Charlotte. She's 1 year old, and she is my best friend. And I genuinely am not sure that I would be here or doing well mentally, I should say, if I did not have her with me. I feel like living alone, you learn so much about so many things, especially about yourself, because you're spending a load of time with yourself. At the end of the day in life, you are the only person who is a constant for you always. So I think that being able to enjoy being alone and being in your own company and being comfortable with that is very important. The next pro is that I have been pushed completely out of my comfort zone. Going out of your comfort zone, I just feel like is naturally uncomfortable, but it's rewarding. My mom always says that your comfort zone is a great place, but nothing ever grows there. You can't move forward and progress as a human being if you're staying in the same place, if you're staying stagnant. And that doesn't mean physically, that doesn't mean like you can't move forward if you're still living in the same town or the same house. It's a mindset thing. You need to be doing things that are uncomfortable to you in order to have new experiences and grow as a human being. The next thing I wrote is that independence is challenging, but again, it's rewarding. Being on your own is hard. You don't have somebody to turn to at all hours and be like, can you do this for me? Can you help me? What should I do? What do I do? You have to figure things out on your own. You have to do things for yourself. It's definitely a big learning experience, but that's the whole point. It's a learning experience. So even though I struggle sometimes, often actually, I always come out of it learning something new. Going along with learning, another pro of post-grad is that I've learned a lot about myself. Other things that play into that are obviously that I do live alone, so I spend a lot of time with myself, but just trying to figure out what I want out of my life as a whole. I've really had to do some soul searching since post-grad because my future plan is no longer laid out for me by school. It's laid out for me by myself. So the last thing I wrote is that I feel like I have matured a lot, not to toot my own horn. And I do feel like I mature, like obviously year after year, just with age and new experiences, but really having to like step into the whole ass rest of life after school, something about that, it's a really good opportunity for you to mature as a human being. Moving on to the cons. Number one, this is probably my biggest issue, and that is creating my own structure. I really struggle for some reason with making my own structure and actually holding myself to it. And that is a personal issue that I think I need to see a therapist about. I'm not even being funny. Like obviously things like deadlines, that's not hard for me to hold myself accountable for because I'm used to those and I meet deadlines, you know what I mean? But just my structure of the day, getting things done early, for some reason, it is so hard for me to find the motivation in myself to do. A lot of it is probably because of the career path that I am currently on and what I am doing for work. So I am a full-time content creator, which means that I work by myself and I also work remotely. I work from home. I don't have an office to go into. You know, creating a schedule and times that I need to be up and times that I need to sit down and start doing work for the day. I know in my head what I want them to be and what I want the structure of my day to look like, but for some reason I can't get myself to do it. I don't know if it's a lack of motivation. I don't know if there's legitimately something wrong with me, and I'm not trying to be complaining. I'm just saying I'm not very good at it. So I need to work on that. But anyway, next con, making friends is hard. Making friends is hard. That's something I've already struggled with in life. Even in college, I sucked ass at making friends. Did not have good luck with it at all. And that discouraged me a lot because I was like, well, I suck at this, obviously, if I'm not having good luck with it. So maybe I should just not even try. That was kind of the mindset that I had. And that, you can't really have that mindset once you graduate and you move to a new place by yourself, because you need people. You need to be social with other human beings. You need to interact with people. You need to make connections with people. It did take me a little bit to kind of like get my feet on the ground with that. I think I've slowly but surely been gaining confidence in reaching out to people, and that's just kind of what happens when you do something repeatedly. The hard part is starting to do it and actually like doing it the first time and then doing it again and again and again. But once you do something like that makes you uncomfortable more and more, it becomes less uncomfortable. I mean, it's still uncomfortable, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I feel like I've gained some confidence there. The next con, bills. They suck. No one wants to pay bills, but it is a necessary evil of adulthood. We all have to do it. It just sucks. And then the last one that I wrote down is that I have felt a sickening level of imposter syndrome since I've moved here. If you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's basically feeling like you are a fraud or you don't deserve what you have or you don't belong where you are, sort of thing, in very general terms. I have felt like that a lot. I don't know, I just always feel like I have something to prove, something that I've felt a lot more since graduating, since the whole like school part was taken out of my identity, and my identity now is like, from an outside view, just a content creator. I've just dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome. So yeah, so that's my pros and cons list. Like I said, there's definitely more, but now I would like to move into some more specific topics. In order, we have having your life planned out and just having a plan. That's the first topic. Second topic, jobs. And the third topic is comparison. So let's begin with the first one. This is something that I talked about last year in a video before I even graduated, when I was kind of going through a period of not knowing what I was doing. I had this epiphany that maybe I don't actually need to know exactly what I'm doing, and every single step that I make doesn't need to be premeditated. It doesn't need to be planned out. A year later, I 1,000,000% stand by that. You do not need to have your entire life path planned out at any given point. I know in high school, there was a lot of pressure to figure out what you wanted to major in and then pick a college for that, and that was like so important, and it was really nailed into us in high school. Like, this is gonna be what you do for the rest of your life. And then I found out in college that that just wasn't true. If I didn't like my major, I could change it. If I didn't like my school, I could leave. In general, you don't need to have every single thing in your life be a solid plan. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go into life with absolutely no direction, because that's just not smart. But you don't need to be like, okay, by 23, I'm gonna have this, and by 24, I'm gonna have this job, by 25, I'm gonna have this promotion at the job, I'm gonna be making X amount of money, by 26, I'm gonna be engaged, I'm gonna be married by 28, have my first kid by 29. Like, you don't need to have that specific of a plan for your life path. You just simply don't. Number one, it's just really stressful and overwhelming to think that you have to stick to that once you've made the plan. And even making the plan itself is just stressful. It's too much and it's not necessary. There are a few reasons I say that. Let's begin. My dear friend Ava, she has a podcast called On My Mind, and she talked about this in an episode before. I don't remember which episode it was. She made a few points that I really liked. So first one is that the future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the present. The past existed, but not anymore because it's in the past. The present is literally the only thing that exists. You could plan for a year from now, but we don't even know if a year from now is going to happen. And it's kind of maybe a little bit morbid to think that way, but it is so true. And as we've all seen, we all had plans for whatever the fuck in 2020. Maybe we had vacations we wanted to go on, maybe we had graduations, maybe we had XYZ. I don't know, we had things that we were planning for and that we were like, oh, this is gonna happen. Like, why wouldn't it? And then we all had to pivot. Not that the world was gonna end, but like the reality and our day-to-day lives were changed so quickly and so much. The future in and of itself is not promised because it doesn't exist. And things most of the time do not happen exactly how you want them to or how you think they will. Another thing that Ava talked about that I really liked was that there isn't necessarily a right or a wrong path for your life. Your whole life path is simply a series of decisions that you make. And with every single decision that you make every single day, whichever one you pick, the rest of the path shifts based on that decision. And it is every single decision that you make every single day that changes your future reality. It's really trippy to think about, but it is true. And sometimes when I think about that, I'm like, well, maybe I should be more conscious of the decisions I'm making in my day-to-day life and make sure they are setting me up for the best path, I guess. But as I said, there isn't a right or a wrong path. There's just decisions. I mean, some things are inherently wrong, obviously. Besides the things that are obviously wrong and that would send you down a wrong path, for most things, there isn't a right or wrong. It's just you do it. Whatever happens after that happens, and then you make another decision, and then whatever happens. It's just that cycle every single second of the day for your entire life. My point is that you don't need to stress out about making sure you are on the right path or the perfect life path for yourself, because you don't even know what that is. You don't even realize that what you're doing every day and the decisions that you make throughout your life are shifting that path. So relax, you know what I mean? It's not that deep. You need to be able to keep an open mind and take advantage of opportunities that present themselves to you. If you are pigeonholed and only focusing on what you think is your correct life path, and you need to do all these things in order and you need to complete all these steps, then you may not see opportunities that are happening around you, that are presenting themselves to you, and you may not take those. And those opportunities could lead you down a better path, a more fulfilling one for yourself than the one that you think you want. But you have to have your head up and have your mind open in order to see those opportunities and take them. So that is point number one. Point number two, I wanted to talk about jobs. Obviously, this is a huge part of post-grad life. You go to school, you learn shit, and then you get a job. It sounds very straightforward, formulaic for everybody, but it's really not as simple and as straightforward as it comes off. There are so many different paths that you could go down just within your career, with your job. There are so many jobs out there. So many types of jobs, so many fields, so many like options, opportunities while you're finishing up college, or like once you get out of college. The next logical thing that you're doing is thinking, now how am I going to support myself financially? What am I going to do for work right now or for the rest of my life? But like I said, you don't need to plan for the rest of your life. The reason I wanted to touch on this topic is because I feel like there is a lot of external pressure on your personal job / career decisions. Let me just speak from my own personal experience, since I can't speak for anyone else other than myself. I have had so many people offer unsolicited career advice, unsolicited job advice. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that everything that anyone's ever said to me has been negative. A lot of it is good intentioned. A lot of it can actually provide you with new ideas or perspectives you may have not even thought of before. So I do think it's worth like hearing people out. But there are cases where people either directly or indirectly will express to you that maybe your job that you have or your career path in general isn't a good idea. That can kind of make you naturally think like, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I not doing this whole thing as well as other people? Should I be doing something else? Would that be better for me? And the answer is no. You don't have to do something just because other people are doing it. And on the flip side, you don't have to not do something just because everyone else is doing it. If the job that you have or you're entering or you're in search of, you think is right for you at the time and is providing you with what you need in life to sustain yourself, it literally does not matter what anyone else says or what anyone else is doing, period. Nobody else is living your life. Nobody else is responsible for your life or your quality of life or anything else but you. You're just trying to do the best thing that you can for yourself. So back to me for a second. Throughout my last year of post-grad life, I have definitely made some discoveries, if that's even the word, about my career path and what I want the end goal to be. I think I've always known, honestly, what I wanted my end goal to be, like what my dream career was. Every time somebody would ask me what my dream job was, whether it be in school or somebody that I knew asking me, I would always say that my dream was to have my own business, run my own business and have it be successful. And then of course the follow-up question to that was always, what kind of business? And at the time I was like, I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I will figure it out eventually. So over the past year, obviously I've still been doing YouTube and I've been doing work with brands. I've gotten to do actually a couple of like longer term partnerships with brands, which has been really, really fun and exciting. I've done repeat partnerships before, but I had worked on like a 7 or 8 month long campaign with a brand last year. And I just am so grateful that I got to do that, because that kind of made me think that maybe the logical next step for me in my career path progression would be kind of to take that, what I have been doing for brands on my own channel, and instead of working with brands on content for my own social channels, I really would like to do something like that for other businesses. So essentially freelancing. I'm really interested in doing some form of marketing freelancing. I understand that marketing is a really general term. So of course I need to, you know, narrow it down, find a few niches, probably like 2 or 3 that I could actually see myself advising on. And I would really love to be kind of like a consultant, a marketing consultant for other brands. I would still be working for myself, so I would kind of be like an independent contractor type of thing for a company, but I would essentially work with them for whatever designated period of time, work on some marketing goal or objective or whatever it may be that they need. And that way I get to continue collaborating with companies, I get to network, I get to build a portfolio, but I also get to use my marketing degree that I studied for and that I earned. Also all of the other marketing things that I've learned through doing my own thing with content creation. I can really take all of those things and put them together and provide ideas and my insight and my strategy. And who knows, maybe I will even do like content creation for brands as well. Maybe that's something that I will offer. I don't know exactly yet. So I got the idea, and then I've done some research. I've talked to some people who either are or were freelancers. Obviously there's a lot just within that I could talk about, but that's not what this video is about. I love marketing. I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it, and it's specifically marketing strategy. Something about it, I love it. I love strategizing. I love doing research. I love creating a plan. I love executing the plan. I love all of it. I love seeing the whole thing through. That's where I'm at right now with that. Obviously, I'm still continuing on doing my content creation and doing YouTube and working with brands. But outside of that, I'm figuring out a lot of things. I really don't like talking about things that I want to do but that haven't happened yet, or that aren't completely like ready. I feel like it jinxes it, and I hate putting things out there that I don't have like an exact knowledge of what they're gonna turn out to be. But I'm really excited about it, and I think that it could be really good for me. I have one final topic point that I want to hit on, and that is comparison. Now, I've previously mentioned some things about this in this video, but I just think that when you are done with school, when you are in your post-grad era, everybody is quite literally winging it. It's a free-for-all. It's a blank canvas. Every single person has that. Everyone is doing their own thing, chasing their own dreams, setting their own goals. There is absolutely no need to compare yourself, your path, to somebody else's. When you're in school with a bunch of people, it's really easy to feel like you're all on the same path. It just kind of feels that way. I don't know if that's just me. So it's really easy to compare yourself to others in a situation like that. Like, for example, if you're studying the same thing as somebody in college, you guys are both the same major, I guess, I don't know. It's easy to compare yourself to their progress in the major because you're also in that same major. So you kind of feel like you should be keeping up with everybody else, or you should be doing what everybody else is doing. It's easy to compare yourself to other people's grades, to other people's internship opportunities, to other people's, I don't know, social lives, just to other people in general. Once you're out of the school system, there's literally nobody that you have to look at every day and be like, oh, this person's like doing the exact same thing as me right now, so I should be comparing myself and like keeping up with them. Everybody is trying to figure out what they're doing. There are so many factors at play here in everybody's different unique paths that you, first of all, know nothing about, and second of all, don't need to worry about because you have your own. Now, I understand that this is much easier said than done, especially with social media. It's easy to look at people and compare your looks to them or whatever it may be. What you do not need to compare to other people is where you're at in life. You may be on chapter 2 and somebody else may be on chapter 50. You don't know what chapter they're on. Everyone moves through differently. Everyone is at a different stage, and you have no idea what stage other people are at. Just because they're doing the same job as you at the same place in the same department does not mean that each of your life chapters are the same. Don't base all of your like checkpoints on the road to your goals on what other people are doing. You just need to be doing things for yourself. What you're doing needs to be internally motivated. It can't be influenced by other people, because if you're not into it and it's not 100% you, then it's probably not gonna be that great. We just don't need to be comparing ourselves. It's done. It's old news. Boring. Tomato, 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 throwing tomatoes. In conclusion, I was right when I said that college was not the best 4 years of my life. Anyone who says life just gets worse after graduation is a big fat liar, and I am having fun in this stage of life. My camera's dying. Perfect timing to end. So yeah, with that being said, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you've stayed until this point in the video, comment down below. I'm a real one because you're a real one. If you wanna see more videos from me, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post a new video every Sunday. And if you forget that I post a new video every Sunday, or you just wanna get notified right when I post a new video, make sure to turn on my post notifications for my channel. It's the little bell icon so you never miss an upload and you get notified right when I post a new video. And yeah, I think that's it.